Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up tomorrow with no one to call, no one to text, no one to share your thoughts with. You look around and there's no one in sight. You're standing alone in a world full of people, but you're invisible. Does that sound like a nightmare or a reality? In today's world, we're constantly told that we need friends to validate us, to tell us we're doing okay, to help us when we're down. But what happens when there are no friends? What happens when you stand alone in the middle of a busy, crowded world? I'll tell you one thing, it's not as bad as you think. In fact, it's the greatest opportunity you could ever have. Friendship is one of the most powerful and influential forces in life. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we navigate the world, and even how we define our success. In many ways, the people we surround ourselves with can either elevate us or hold us back. But what happens when you find yourself without friends? Is it a curse, a setback, or an opportunity? In today's fast-paced, interconnected world, we often view friendship as a fundamental pillar of a successful and fulfilling life. From childhood to adulthood, we're told that having a close-knit group of friends is essential for happiness, social status, and even career success. The term friendship is often associated with shared memories, laughter, support during hard times, and a sense of belonging. It gives us the comfort of knowing that we are seen, understood, and cared for by others. The absence of friendship can often lead to feelings of loneliness, rejection, and even self-doubt. For a woman with no friends, the pressure of fitting into society's expectations can feel overwhelming. The stigma of having no close companions often leads to feelings of inadequacy, as though something is wrong with you because you aren't part of a social group or seen frequently with others. You might wonder, why don't I have the same kind of relationships that others seem to have? What does it say about me? But this perception is only one side of the story. The truth is, the power of friendship lies not in the quantity of connections we have, but in the quality of the relationships we nurture. Not all friendships are created equal. Having a lot of friends doesn't automatically equate to happiness or fulfillment. In fact, it's not unusual for someone to have many friends and still feel completely alone. The quality of the friendship, its depth, and its mutual respect are what truly matter. But without true friends, how do we navigate the world of personal growth, achievement, and self-love? Being without close friends may seem daunting at first, but it presents an incredible opportunity to reframe how we look at relationships and our sense of self-worth. It pushes us to stop relying on external validation and external sources of support, which can be fleeting and unreliable. Without friends, you may feel more vulnerable, but that vulnerability can become your greatest strength. It forces you to cultivate a deeper connection with yourself. In the absence of others to define you, you begin to define who you are and what you stand for on your own terms. Without the noise of external voices, you have the space to grow. It's the space to ask yourself the important questions: what do I want in my life? What am I passionate about? Who am I? Without the expectations of others to cloud my vision. This solitude creates room for personal exploration, transformation, and growth in ways that the comfort of friendships may prevent. While friends can offer advice and feedback, they can also sometimes create distractions, drawing you away from your true purpose or desires. In silence, you learn to trust yourself more, to rely on your inner wisdom, and to make decisions based on what feels right for you, not what is expected of you by others. The absence of friendship allows you to be completely free in a way that many people with close friends may never experience. With no one to please or disappoint, you are free to pursue whatever path excites you. There is no pressure to conform to the expectations of others. You can take risks, try new things, and fail without fear of letting anyone down. In this freedom, you might discover your true passions and aspirations unfiltered by the opinions of others. You become your own cheerleader and your own mentor. This doesn't mean that relationships are irrelevant or that friendships don't play an important role in life. But it does highlight the fact that your value as a person is not determined by the number of friends you have or by the roles you play in their lives. It's crucial to realize that friendship is a choice, not a necessity. And while you may yearn for connection, the desire to build meaningful relationships starts with the understanding that you can be whole without them. The absence of friends may reveal something profound. The best relationships, whether personal or professional, are those that come into your life not out of need or social obligation, but because you have cultivated a strong foundation within yourself first. The more you become secure in your own sense of worth and purpose, the more likely you are to attract the right people who align with your values and vision. A woman with no friends is not a woman who has been abandoned or neglected. She is a woman who has chosen to walk her own path, to discover her own strengths, and to find her own way in the world. She is the architect of her own life, shaping it based on her values, passions, and goals. And in the process, she becomes the kind of person who doesn't need to rely on others for validation, but instead offers something of deep value to those she meets. In this way, she transforms what could be seen as a weakness into one of her greatest strengths, a woman who knows who she is and has the courage to stand in her own power. Self-worth and social validation are deeply intertwined with the presence of friends, particularly in a world that places a high value on social connection. For many, friendships serve as a mirror through which we see ourselves. We look to our friends for reassurance, for a sense of belonging, and to feel validated in our identity and choices. But when a woman finds herself without friends, this need for external validation can take a different form. It challenges her sense of self-worth, raising the question, am I enough without others' approval? Self-worth is the foundation upon which our confidence, actions, and happiness are built. It's the belief that we matter, that we deserve love, respect, and success, not because of how others see us, but because we inherently have value as individuals. However, in a society where friendship often acts as a barometer for success or happiness, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our worth is only as high as the number of friends we have or the depth of our social connections. This is especially true for women, who are often taught to value their roles in relationships, whether as a mother, daughter, or friend, and to measure their worth based on how they are seen and valued by others. The absence of friends, in this context, can be perceived as a blow to one's sense of identity. Without close friends, a woman may feel as though she's missing a piece of herself. She may question if she's unworthy of genuine connection, thinking that perhaps there's something wrong with her, something unappealing or insufficient that keeps others at a distance. These doubts can eat away at her confidence and convince her that without social validation, she is somehow incomplete. It is in these moments that the greatest challenge and opportunity arises, the chance to redefine her own worth, independent of external approval. The validation we often seek from friends is fleeting. Friendships, like any other relationship, are dynamic. People change, priorities shift, and social circles can come and go. What remains constant, however, is the importance of cultivating a strong sense of self that doesn't depend on others for validation. A woman without friends has the rare opportunity to rebuild her sense of self-worth from the inside out. She has the chance to stop looking for reassurance from others and start looking inward for affirmation. The goal is not to reject human connection or to isolate oneself permanently, but to discover the power of internal validation, the ability to know deep within that you are enough, regardless of the presence or absence of others. This process of rediscovering self-worth can be incredibly liberating. Without the need to please or measure up to the standards of others, a woman can engage in personal growth on her own terms. She can explore her passions, develop her skills, and pursue her dreams without the fear of judgment or comparison. This freedom allows her to embrace her unique qualities and stand tall in her individuality, rather than trying to fit into a mold defined by social expectations. When a woman begins to validate herself, she strengthens her own internal compass. She becomes less susceptible to the opinions of others, whether positive or negative. The need to please, to fit in, or to conform to social pressures diminishes as she becomes more secure in her identity. She learns that her value doesn't come from being surrounded by people, but from understanding who she truly is. This internal validation creates resilience and inner strength that will carry her through times of loneliness and uncertainty. It allows her to weather the storms of life, knowing that even when external circumstances change, her sense of self will remain unwavering. This newfound sense of self-worth also has an interesting impact on relationships. When a woman is comfortable with who she is, she no longer feels the need to seek out friendships for the sake of filling an emotional void or proving her value. Instead, she can approach relationships with a sense of abundance, not need. She seeks out connections that align with her values, passions, and goals, rather than ones that merely provide temporary comfort or validation. Friendships, in this context, become more meaningful because they are based on shared values and mutual respect, not on the need to feel validated or approved of. A woman might initially feel as though she's missing out on something important. She may feel isolated or disconnected. But this isolation can be the catalyst for transformation. It allows her to shift her focus from looking outward for validation to looking inward for strength. By learning to value herself first, she becomes more attractive to others not because she seeks validation from them, but because she radiates the confidence that comes from self-assurance. In this way, she not only elevates her own life, but becomes a magnet for the right kind of friendships, those that are based on authentic connection and mutual respect, rather than on external validation. The absence of friends forces a woman to confront the most fundamental question of all: who am I when no one is around to define me? It challenges her to define her worth on her own terms without relying on others for affirmation. This journey of self-discovery and self-validation is one of the most empowering experiences a woman can have. It allows her to stand in her own power, knowing that her value is intrinsic, not dependent on the approval of others. And once she has truly embraced her own worth, she becomes unstoppable, attracting the right relationships and creating a life that reflects the fullness of who she truly is. Loneliness and emotional health are intricately connected, and the absence of friends often highlights how deeply these aspects of life are intertwined. In a society that increasingly values social interactions, the lack of close friends can create a sense of isolation that feels both profound and overwhelming. Loneliness at its core is not simply about being physically alone, it's the emotional experience of feeling disconnected from others, and for many, this emotional void can have serious implications for mental and emotional well-being. The absence of meaningful social connections can lead to feelings of sadness, worthlessness, and even depression. For a woman without friends, the void can feel particularly daunting. Society often measures happiness and success based on social engagement and the number of people we have in our circle. We're encouraged to keep busy, to have a vibrant social life, and to constantly interact with others, whether in person or on social media. In this context, being alone, especially for long periods, can feel like a reflection of failure, making it harder to confront feelings of loneliness. These feelings may bring a constant sense of longing or emptiness, accompanied by the fear that something is inherently wrong with us for not fitting into the social mold. It's easy to get caught in the narrative that if you don't have friends, you must be missing something essential in your life. The truth, however, is that loneliness isn't a permanent condition, it's an emotional response that signals a need for connection. It's a reminder that we are human beings who thrive on social bonds. But it also offers an opportunity to reflect on the quality of those connections. Loneliness often occurs when the relationships in our lives are shallow, unfulfilling, or disconnected from our true selves. When a woman has no friends, it might not be about a lack of people around her, but rather about not feeling deeply seen, understood, or valued by those people. Loneliness can stem from the absence of true, authentic relationships, connections where one can be their whole unmasked self. This type of isolation is especially challenging because it's not just about the absence of people, but about the absence of genuine human connection. And in a world that's increasingly digital, where online connections often replace face-to-face interactions, loneliness can become even more pronounced. But here's where the paradox lies. While loneliness can have negative effects on emotional health, it can also be a doorway to self-awareness and personal growth. The key to navigating loneliness is learning how to be comfortable with solitude. Many people spend so much time avoiding loneliness that they fail to realize that solitude, when embraced, can be a powerful tool for self-discovery. Being alone does not mean being unloved or unwanted. It simply means that the opportunity for introspection and self-reliance is wide open. It's during these times of solitude that we can begin to explore who we are beyond our relationships with others, to discover what truly makes us feel fulfilled, and to learn how to nurture our emotional health from within. A woman with no friends, particularly when loneliness feels overwhelming, may find herself confronting the uncomfortable feelings of inadequacy or fear. But within this discomfort lies the chance to become emotionally stronger. Solitude creates the space for self-compassion. In moments of loneliness, we have the opportunity to turn inward, to heal old wounds, and to strengthen our emotional resilience. When you're alone, you're forced to face yourself, your strengths, your flaws, and everything in between. In this process, you can begin to develop a deeper understanding of what makes you feel secure, what brings you joy, and what you need to feel emotionally fulfilled. This period of emotional reflection allows a woman to heal from past experiences, whether that's the pain of lost friendships or the damage caused by toxic relationships. Many women feel pressured to maintain friendships or to remain in social circles that don't align with their values simply because they fear being alone. The fear of loneliness can make us stay in relationships that are emotionally draining or unfulfilling. Without friends, however, the silence opens up the space to reevaluate these past dynamics. It's in solitude that you can truly reflect on what kind of friendships you want to build in the future. Do you seek people who challenge you to grow? Do you want friends who respect your boundaries and empower you to be your authentic self? These questions can't be answered in the midst of social noise. They require the clarity that solitude offers. Emotional health thrives when we learn to cope with loneliness in healthy ways. Developing emotional resilience during these times can lead to a profound transformation. You may begin to develop habits that nourish your mind and body, whether it's through journaling, meditating, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in creative activities. These practices, when done regularly, can help you build emotional strength and mental clarity. They teach you that you don't need others to be whole. You are enough as you are. And while friendships can add to your life, they are not the source of your value or happiness. This emotional growth can also lead to better decision-making. When you've learned to be emotionally self-sufficient, you become less reliant on others for validation or happiness. You learn to make decisions based on your values and desires rather than trying to please others or fulfill their expectations. The process of working through loneliness and emotional health ultimately leads to personal empowerment. When you learn to navigate the emotional landscape of loneliness, you become better equipped to face challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties in life. The absence of friends might initially feel like a deep loss, but it can be the very catalyst for change, growth, and self-discovery. In time, a woman who has embraced her loneliness will discover that it was not a weakness, but a strength, because in the end, the only person you can truly rely on for emotional health is yourself. When you understand how to nourish your emotional well-being from within, you are free to attract the kinds of relationships that enhance your life rather than define it. The value of solitude is often underestimated in a world that champions social connections. We are constantly told that to be happy, to be successful, we need to have a strong social circle. But the truth is, solitude is not an enemy to be avoided. It is, in fact, an incredibly powerful and often necessary state for personal growth, creativity, and deep self-awareness. For a woman who finds herself without friends, solitude can be an invaluable opportunity for reflection, recharging, and redefining herself on her own terms. When a woman is without the company of friends, the first instinct might be to feel that something is missing. Society tends to equate friendship with happiness, and without a circle of friends, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you are incomplete or less valuable. However, the beauty of solitude lies in its potential to help us become complete on our own. Instead of focusing on the absence of others, solitude invites us to embrace the presence of ourselves. It gives us the space to explore our own desires, passions, and goals unimpeded by the expectations or influence of others. In this time alone, we have the chance to focus inward, reconnect with our deeper purpose, and cultivate a sense of self-sufficiency that can't be found in the company of others. A woman is forced to look beyond the distractions of external relationships and confront what is happening inside her own heart and mind. This can be an intimidating process at first. Many people shy away from solitude because it forces them to confront their own fears, insecurities, and doubts. But it is only through this confrontation that we truly learn who we are. Solitude can help us shed the layers of societal conditioning, expectations, and obligations that often obscure our true selves. It's in these quiet moments alone that we begin to ask ourselves the most important questions. What do I truly want? What makes me feel fulfilled? What do I need to feel at peace with myself? These are questions that are often drowned out by the noise of social interaction, but in solitude, the answers emerge. Solitude offers the chance to cultivate creativity in ways that can't be achieved through the constant presence of others. The quiet of being alone allows our minds to wander freely, to explore new ideas and possibilities without the limitations of groupthink or outside opinions. Many of history's greatest works of art, literature, and innovation have come from moments of deep solitude, where the individual was left alone with their thoughts and their craft. For a woman without friends, this might be the perfect opportunity to tap into creative potential. Whether through painting, writing, crafting, or building something from the ground up, Solitude provides the time and space to focus on personal projects and to explore new forms of self-expression. In addition to fostering creativity, solitude can also act as a powerful tool for emotional healing and growth. When we're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to avoid confronting our own emotions. Relationships can sometimes mask our true feelings, especially if we're in situations where we're people-pleasing or trying to meet the expectations of those around us. Without friends, there is no one else to divert our attention. We are left to sit with ourselves and process the emotions that arise, whether they are related to past experiences, fears for the future, or current disappointments. This can be a deeply uncomfortable experience, but it is also an essential one. Through solitude, we learn to face our emotions head-on and develop the emotional intelligence necessary for personal growth. We can heal from past wounds, build resilience, and learn to cope with the challenges life throws our way in a more empowered way. Solitude also provides the space for us to reconnect with our values, goals, and priorities. Without friends to influence our decisions or suggest what we should be doing, we can take the time to truly listen to our own voice. What do we believe in? What do we want to accomplish? What impact do we want to have on the world? In a social context, it's easy to become distracted by the desires and opinions of others. When we are alone, however, we have the luxury of focusing solely on what truly matters to us. This clarity can be transformative, helping us make more intentional decisions and take more focused actions toward the life we want to create. The value of solitude, however, doesn't mean we should avoid friendships or social connections altogether. It simply means that we should not rely on others to define us or give us purpose. Solitude teaches us to be comfortable in our own company and to find fulfillment from within. It helps us develop a sense of independence and self-sufficiency, which are critical qualities when building meaningful relationships in the future. It allows us to bring our most authentic self into friendships without the need to seek validation or approval. A woman who has embraced solitude is a woman who knows who she is, what she wants, and how to create the life she desires on her own terms. The absence of friends, far from being a source of loneliness or sadness, can be the catalyst for personal growth and transformation. It gives us the space to rediscover ourselves, to build our lives from the ground up, and to cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and satisfaction. Solitude is not about isolation or rejection of others. It is about embracing the opportunity to connect with oneself on a deeper level. It teaches us that we are enough on our own, and that we do not need others to complete us. In solitude, we discover the power of self-love and self-reliance, two of the most important building blocks for a fulfilling and purposeful life. The process of personal growth is one of the most transformative and often difficult experiences a person can go through. For a woman with no friends, this journey is especially unique. While many people view personal growth as something that happens through relationships, through the influence and feedback of friends and social networks, being without friends can actually provide a rare and powerful opportunity to embark on a path of self-discovery and growth without the interference of outside opinions, expectations, or distractions. In this solitude, a woman can focus entirely on her own development, shedding the pressures and influences of others to discover her true potential. The absence of friends can initially feel isolating or even discouraging, but it forces an individual to look inward. It creates space for deep self-reflection, where a woman can assess her strengths, weaknesses, dreams, and fears. This self-assessment is the first step in personal growth. When you have no friends to compare yourself to, you are free to explore your own path without the pressure to measure up to others. You begin to develop a relationship with yourself that is based on self-acceptance and self-awareness, which are foundational to personal development. You learn to acknowledge your worth and value, not through the lens of what others think of you, but through your own inner understanding of who you are and what you stand for. This time alone offers an opportunity to explore personal interests and passions that may have been neglected or suppressed in the past. When we are surrounded by friends and external influences, it's easy to prioritize the wants and needs of others over our own. The absence of friends gives a woman the freedom to rediscover hobbies, skills, and talents that may have been left by the wayside. Whether it's painting, writing, learning a new language, or pursuing a business idea, the time spent alone provides the space to focus on self-improvement without the distractions of social obligations. It's in these quiet moments that personal passions can turn into genuine pursuits, creating a sense of fulfillment and purpose that may have been lacking before. Personal growth during times of solitude encourages emotional intelligence. When we are isolated, we are forced to confront and understand our emotions. There's no one else to turn to for advice, no one else to share our frustrations or triumphs with. This lack of external support can initially feel like a burden, but it's precisely in this space that we learn how to manage our emotions independently. Instead of relying on others for validation or comfort, we learn to process our feelings ourselves, developing resilience and emotional maturity. Through this journey, we begin to understand our triggers, our needs, and our capacity for compassion, not just toward others, but also toward ourselves. This emotional growth is essential, as it forms the basis for healthier relationships in the future and a deeper understanding of our own emotional needs. In addition to emotional intelligence, personal growth often requires facing challenges and pushing beyond our comfort zones. Without friends, there are fewer distractions or outside influences to hold us back from pursuing difficult or ambitious goals. The absence of social pressures provides the perfect environment to set and pursue personal objectives, whether that's in the form of advancing a career, becoming healthier, or mastering a skill. With no one to answer to but yourself, you can focus solely on your growth without worrying about how others might perceive your progress. There's no need to explain your goals or justify your actions. You are free to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them without the fear of judgment. This freedom is essential for personal development because growth rarely happens in the absence of discomfort. The more you challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone, the more you expand your capabilities, confidence, and self-assurance. The absence of friends allows you to focus on building strong self-discipline and self-reliance, which are essential components of personal growth. When you are alone, there's no one else to rely on for encouragement or accountability. You must learn to motivate yourself, to set your own schedule, and to hold yourself accountable to the goals you've set. While this can be challenging, it's also an empowering experience. It teaches you to become your own best advocate and support system, which is crucial for personal development. As you learn to trust yourself more, your confidence in your ability to achieve what you set out to do grows, paving the way for even greater successes in all areas of life. One of the most powerful aspects of personal growth in solitude is the ability to redefine one's identity on your own terms. Without the influence of friends or social circles, there's no pressure to conform to expectations or to fit into predefined roles. You can define yourself based on your values, beliefs, and passions, not based on what others think you should be. This can be a liberating experience as it allows you to shed societal expectations and become more authentic. It's a time to embrace your quirks, your unique traits, and your individuality without the fear of judgment. In this process, you learn that you don't need external validation to be happy with who you are. This confidence and authenticity in turn lead to a deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction because you are living life according to your own rules, not those imposed by others. The personal growth that comes from solitude often leads to greater self-empowerment. As you learn to navigate life without the support or influence of friends, you realize just how much strength you have within you. You discover that you are capable of more than you might have thought, and that your potential is not limited by the number of people in your life. Instead of relying on others to fill emotional gaps or to tell you what to do, you learn to become your own guide. This self-reliance fosters a deep sense of empowerment, as you begin to realize that you have the ability to shape your own future. You are no longer dependent on anyone else for your happiness, success, or fulfillment. You become the architect of your own life. Through this process of self-discovery and growth, you become more grounded in your own identity and more aligned with your true purpose. Personal growth in solitude is not a journey of isolation or loneliness. It's a journey of empowerment, confidence, and self-realization. It's a process of reclaiming your own life and taking full responsibility for the person you are becoming. And when the time comes to reconnect with others, you'll do so from a place of strength and authenticity, knowing that you are complete and whole as you are. The journey from isolation to forming new and meaningful friendships is one of the most profound experiences a person can undergo, especially for a woman who finds herself without a social circle. The absence of friends can feel like a void, but it also offers a unique opportunity to reevaluate the kind of connections we seek and how we go about creating them. Often we're taught that the quality of our friendships is reflected in quantity, that the more friends we have, the more fulfilled we are. However, true fulfillment comes not from the number of friends we have, but from the depth and authenticity of the relationships we build. Starting this process of rebuilding or forming new friendships begins with a change in perspective. It's easy to feel discouraged or even defeated when you find yourself without friends. The emptiness can make you question your worth, but it's important to realize that being without friends doesn't mean you are undesirable or incapable of forming meaningful relationships. It simply means that your journey to the right friendships is a bit different from others. Many people tend to seek friendships based on convenience people who are in their social circles, workplaces, or communities. These friendships might not always be deeply fulfilling or based on shared values and interests. But the absence of friendships creates the perfect opportunity to reconsider what you truly want in your connections with others. It's a chance to reflect on the qualities you value in a friend and the kind of relationship you want to cultivate moving forward. When you're starting from a place of solitude, you can be more deliberate in choosing the type of friendships you want to foster. It's no longer about simply filling a gap in your social life, but about connecting with people who resonate with you on a deeper level. This means looking for people who share your values, interests, and goals in life. For a woman with no friends, this process requires patience and introspection. It's important to get clear on the type of friend you want to be and the type of friendship you want to cultivate. Are you seeking someone who is supportive, understanding, and shares your passion for personal growth? Are you looking for a friend who challenges you, who encourages you to step outside your comfort zone? The absence of friends provides you with the time and space to evaluate what kind of energy you want to invite into your life. Building new friendships is also a process of self-discovery. You are constantly learning more about yourself as you explore the dynamics of new relationships. By spending time with people who align with your values, you start to learn new things about yourself, whether that's discovering a hidden passion, expanding your perspectives, or realizing what kind of behavior you will and will not tolerate. In this process, you also develop greater self-awareness as you learn to set boundaries, express your needs, and communicate more effectively. As you forge deeper connections with others, you also learn how to show up more authentically, no longer pretending to be someone you're not in order to fit in or gain approval. This authenticity is key to forming lasting and meaningful friendships. As you form new friendships, the quality of these relationships often far outweighs the quantity. True friendship isn't about how many people you know, but about the depth of the bond you share. For a woman without friends, this shift in focus is crucial. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to be popular or trying to gather a large group of friends, but what truly matters is the emotional intimacy and trust you can build with others. A single deep and meaningful friendship can bring more fulfillment than a dozen superficial connections. These relationships are built on shared values, mutual respect, and emotional support. And the process of forming these friendships starts with your ability to trust and open up, even when it feels vulnerable. The absence of a social circle gives you the opportunity to practice being open and authentic with others, which is the foundation for creating strong, meaningful relationships. Creating these deeper friendships also requires you to be proactive. Unlike the friendships that might have come easily in the past, new friendships often take intentional effort to build. It's about showing up, investing time and energy into the relationship, and nurturing it through honest communication and shared experiences. It might mean putting yourself out there by joining new groups, attending events, or reaching out to people who share similar interests. It can be uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been isolated for a while, but taking small steps toward making new connections is essential. The process of reaching out, connecting, and finding your tribe is what eventually leads to the creation of those deep, authentic friendships that nourish your soul. Another crucial aspect of building new friendships is learning to embrace vulnerability. When you've been without friends for a while, it's easy to build walls around yourself to protect yourself from the hurt of rejection or the fear of being misunderstood. But vulnerability is the key to creating connections that go beyond the surface. It means allowing others to see you as you truly are, flaws and all. It means being willing to share your story, your struggles, your triumphs, and your dreams. Vulnerability builds trust and helps foster a deeper emotional connection that's the cornerstone of any meaningful friendship. The journey from loneliness to meaningful friendship is a transformative one. It's a journey that forces you to step outside your comfort zone, to trust again, and to rebuild your sense of self-worth. It's about learning to let go of old expectations and embracing the possibility of new, authentic connections. In the process, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate not only toward others, but also toward yourself. Building new friendships is not about filling an empty space in your life. It's about creating relationships that add value and meaning to who you are as a person. These friendships are not just about companionship, they are about growth, support, and the shared experience of living a life that is fulfilling and aligned with your true self. If you find yourself without friends, see this as an opportunity to build relationships that matter. Embrace the journey of discovering who you are and what you truly need in your connections with others. With patience, intentionality, and a willingness to be vulnerable, you will create friendships that not only fill your life with joy and meaning, but also help you become the best version of yourself. In conclusion, a woman with no friends is not a woman lost in isolation. Rather, she is a woman on the brink of profound self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. The absence of friendships creates a rare space for reflection, for reevaluating what truly matters, and for building a life that is grounded in personal strength and authenticity. Solitude can be a teacher, helping us find inner peace, reignite our passions, and refine our emotional intelligence. It's in these quiet moments that we often discover who we truly are, what we value, what we want, and how we want to engage with the world around us. This journey of being without friends isn't about resigning to loneliness, but about crafting new, deeper connections that align with who we become through our own growth. In this space, we learn that the most fulfilling relationships aren't determined by their number, but by the quality, authenticity, and support they offer. It's about building relationships that are based on shared values, trust, and emotional intimacy, friendships that enrich our lives in meaningful ways. To every woman who finds herself without friends, know that this is not the end, but rather the beginning. The beginning of an opportunity to redefine your life, reconnect with yourself, and create the kind of relationships that truly support and uplift you. You are more than enough on your own. And as you continue on this journey, you will attract the right people, those who will walk alongside you as you grow, evolve, and embrace the fullest version of yourself.